There's too
You
much
clean your
going on. I have
glasses.
to hold the phone. The glass.
You clean those glasses, you sexy librarian. Wait, when I see a guy, if he has a good bookshelf, I'll be like, you really are packing, aren't you?
Wow, okay. I see you.
The Daily Humans podcast. You're listening to co-host Ashley.
And Nina.
Hello to you all again for season 2, episode 2. I nearly did season 1 for a second. Welcome to you all. How's your day been? How's your day been, Nina?
My day has been wonderful, actually. I feel so good. I am filled with so much energy, which I haven't been for the past couple weeks. So I'm very, very excited.
It feels like a Friday today.
Yeah.
We had a public holiday Friday, and it's just like, for some reason, it's knocked me completely over on my days. So I feel like it's Friday. I don't even think that it's Sunday today. It's just so weird. I feel like I'm in another dimension, the multiverse, like Spiderman.
Yes. I totally
And I
get
actually
what you
watched
mean,
that
though.
too.
Me
Yeah.
too. Great movie. I actually,
Yes.
honestly, real quick, just
Here
a
we
side
go.
tangent.
I'm ready. Tell me.
I have never been a fan of Spider-Man before, right? But when I
Yeah.
saw the remakes, completely changed my mind. Like I am now, I'm not gonna say I'm a Spider-Man lover because we had that whole debate. Like Tony Stark was my guy. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like if it had been a fight between the both, I'd rather have kept Tony, Iron Man, aka. But this did not come to be or came to be. So I'm good with Spider-Man now. We have cooled our beef. So for everybody out there listening who is like, okay, where is she on the spectrum when it comes to Spider-Man and things like Harry Potter and stuff like that? Spider-Man is cool now. I still have to get around Harry Potter. Sorry, Ashley, I know that's your thing. Much more of a Lord of the Rings girl.
Did she just say that?
But it's fine.
I still love you, but like
I love you too.
It's gonna take some getting used to, I think.
Yeah. Something we need to work through, guys, in our friendship.
Star Wars.
Star
Did you say
Wars?
you're a Star Wars fan?
No. I actually have a deep story when it comes to my childhood and learning English and all of that when it comes to Star Wars. And the thing is, when I was a kid, I always wanted a TV. And I was like, Mom, please give me my own TV. That was like my thing when I was a kid. I was like, please, I love movies. I want to watch what I want to watch. And back then we had VHS tapes. So if you're old enough to know what that is.
If you're old enough.
Yeah, we had
we're old.
Yeah, we're old. We're like 5,000
really
years.
Old. Yeah, we know what that shit is. Do you know what MP3 player is?
Do you know what a Walkman is?
Oh, you're going right back, Nina.
Taking you all the way. No, but my dad, he's American, or he was American, and he got me a TV from America. And I'm like, we're living in Germany. Why are you giving me a TV from America? It made no sense to me. But he's like, no, I got this TV. You're going to love it. I'm just like, okay, whatever. And then my mom was like, well, you would have to like listen or watch movies that are in English. And I'm like, but I don't know English. And my dad's like, well, you can learn now. And I'm like, this is an educational moment, I see. So the very first VHS tape that I got from my dad was Star Wars, and it was the original ones with Liam Neeson in it, which is also a big thing because I love Liam Neeson now, but I had no idea he was in it then. And I watched that movie. I have no idea which one it was, but I watched it. I understood nothing. Like a couple words here, and then there's R2D2. Is that his name?
Yeah, RDD2. Oh my gosh, even I'm mucking it up. RD2D. No. Sorry, starting. Okay. RDDT. RDD. Oh, far out, man.
RDD2.
Anyway, RDD2.
Yeah, and Liam Neeson's character and Luke Skywalker or whatever, and I was just like, I don't understand. And that was the first and last time
Yeah.
I ever picked up Star Wars because I was like, it's not for me. Um, but
It's like, nah, I'm done.
I have watched The Creator, and if you like Star Wars, I would
Mm.
recommend it for everybody because it's so good, such a great movie. So please go ahead and watch that. That aside, though, I have no idea what we entered this conversation into. But
I was literally talking about Spider-Man and
oh yeah,
the universe, multi-universe,
multiverse. Yes, yes. Just happy to be
multiverse.
here. Just happy to be here, you
Just
guys.
I was gonna say that I actually watched Spider-Man No Way Home, which is like the newish one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot about the multiverse. And it really
Yes.
made me think about a lot of and I have to say something about the movie. And it's got nothing to do with our topic today, but it has to be said because it's been on my mind and I need to have a little rant about it. First things first, if you've seen the movie, you're going to know what I'm going to say. If you haven't, then spoiler alert, major spoiler alert. Firstly, have you seen it, Nina?
Yes, I've seen all of them.
Yes. It annoys me that they turned on him so quickly. That's the first thing that annoys me the most about it. They turned on him so you know what? It showcases human beings in so many ways, these movies. Because I watched all the Spider-Man movies and I just thought to myself, this showcases human beings a lot, just how fast they would turn on Spider-Man and how much they
Absolutely.
did.
Mm-hmm.
How much they did. And how they acted and how they treated him as a 17-year-old. I don't care that it's just a movie. Someone that literally risked their life every day to save humanity, to save people. And this is what he gets. As I said, it just showcases human beings to a T in so many ways, right?
Absolutely.
And even in the end, he chooses to be forgotten completely rather than people be what's the word? What was going to happen? The universe was like breaking. Rather than that happen, he chose to be forgotten by
Yeah.
everyone. I don't think any of us could imagine that happening.
Yeah.
For everyone in our lives to forget us. Like I couldn't do it if Nina forgot me.
Yeah.
Like what would I do?
We can meet each other again. I'll remember you in Seoul.
I, I don't say something in the back of your head's like, she looks so familiar. I'm like, oh my gosh, is she like my long lost twin? I was like, yes, I am. Embrace me.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
Spider-Man
I have.
movies were really incredible when you think about it, truly. And like you said, it does represent, the state of the world in a lot of ways. I think a lot of movies do. Even the movie that I just mentioned, The Creator, I'm not sure if you've seen it, Ash, but
No, not
it
yet.
just, it really, it got me deep in my emotions because
Mm.
human beings can be the cruelest creatures on this planet
Oh
if we
gosh,
really want to
yes.
be. And
They
we
already
can,
are.
yeah, in a lot of ways,
Already are.
yes.
Mm.
And I think when you have people or characters or even real life people who are like Spider-Man in a sense, who give their all to help the community or people around them, a
Yeah.
lot of the time they get the front or the brunt of humanity's issues, people's issues,
Mm.
internalized issues. And it's just very unfortunate. Yeah. Before I go on a tangent, but yeah, it's very
No, you
unfortunate that
should.
these movies I should
You should.
be
It's
encouraged.
equally as frustrating because we see it, like I said,
Yeah,
we see it online. It's
absolutely.
and it's something that's been such a reality, like, in my face lately that I've noticed. That's why I'm talking about it because the Spider-Man movie is such a, image of that reality in so much sense. Everyone shoving their cameras in his faces. Everyone was so quick to almost there was one woman, if you remember this scene, where she goes to attack him, and then someone jumps on him as he flies away with,
Yeah,
MJ.
yeah,
Like, you're gonna really go at him like that?
yeah.
And it's online. It's
Yeah.
online. It really is unfortunate. Even watching Doctor Strange and his multiverse.
Mhm.
I cannot remember the title. Doctor Strange the Multiverse, I think it was.
Yeah.
I think Wanda and have you seen it before I
No,
even just talk about it?
you can
Am I
talk
gonna
about it though.
spoil it if I'm not gonna spoil it for you?
No, it's okay. I
Okay.
love Doctor
Okay.
Strange.
Ah, I love Doctor Strange as well. Such a good movie.
Mm,
All of them. Wanda, do you know who Wanda is? The
yes.
witch? Yeah, so in that movie she switches. She switches from the Avenger mode to grief mode, what I call it,
Mm,
and desiring something with no means of end kind of thing.
mhm,
Desiring something at whatever the cost. Like she
mhm,
gets to that point mentally. So in this movie, she basically, in another dimension, she sees herself with children and she wants
mm,
that really badly,
yeah.
right? So she fully, as I've said, does whatever she can to get to that reality, to
Yeah.
get to that dimension, and to be that mum, to replace
Yeah.
that mum. Yeah. To be with her children. So in the film, it's like an unfolding of what she does to get to that point. And again, that
Mhm,
depicts humanity to a T.
mhm,
The movie depicts the reality that human beings, to get to that point that they want to get, they don't really see, or they're not self aware enough to see what they're doing to the people around them to get to that point, and what
mhm,
that getting to that point actually means. If it means you projecting on those around you to get there, harming those around you to get there. That's what she does. She harms, she
yeah.
literally takes people's lives to get there. I see it online, I see it in reality. People doing what Wanda does. Obviously in a different storyline,
Mhm,
but you see it everywhere. Everywhere. It's all over social media.
yeah.
It's kind of like leaving a comment and not seeing the power that that comment spreads and what it
Mm,
creates and the vines that it creates, not caring about the harm. Because without having like a point that you want to get to, when you project that, you have an agenda for the reason
mm,
of that projection, right? So when
yeah.
someone leaves a nasty comment and the agenda's there, it's just this lack of self awareness or no self awareness at all, seeing what they leave, the trail they
Mhm,
leave.
mhm.
People really don't see it.
Yeah.
They really don't. But when you talk to your friends, when I talk to my friends, when we meet people, you hear it. People don't know this, but you hear it. It's literally everywhere. When you hear someone talk about their insecurities, it might not necessarily come from other people, but it comes from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You see it when you hear people talk down on themselves, on their self worth, their self value, how they look. You see it everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't think people are consciously aware of the trail of what these
Mhm,
comments leave behind. A lot for us to see, a lot for us to become conscious of. That's why I will really look deep into a movie if it's got that kind of meaning to it, or any type of meaning, like Soul, like the movie Soul. You've seen that one,
yes. Oh my
right? The
gosh.
meaning there is it's there in your face
Yeah.
when you can see it, when you're consciously wanting to see it and you're aware
Mhm,
of it.
yeah.
You know, there are so many movies that I think we could even say
Mhm,
that have that and really are
absolutely.
humanity's issues. Lately, this has been such a common reflection that I'm noticing is like watching these movies and I've just been like, oh yeah. And then online I'm seeing it. Like I'm telling you, it's been like right in my face seeing the cycle of
Yeah.
this. And I thought, something to talk to Nina about.
Yeah.
Always like the first thought is something to talk to Nina about and something to bring to you guys here as well.
Absolutely. I think I've seen it, as probably many people have in their own personal lives, but I've definitely noticed it with some people around me where it's like you see the direction that people are going in, and you are aware that it's toxic, that it's not good for them, but they are so hell bent. They're so like, "Yeah, I gotta make this work," and I've been there too. Like, I'm no person to talk
Mm,
because I've definitely been in the space of like, "I wanna make my dreams come true, and I'm gonna do it at all costs," and I think in society, on top of that, there's the productivity, like, fascination, obsession, whatever we may wanna call it, and productivity can be good, motivation can be good, and all this stuff, but, like, if you really look at the state of the world and where it is right now, um, most people need to actually do less than do more. And then that coupled with this obsessive, I need to get better, I need to do this, I need to get there, you don't really end up realizing when you're in the position yourself how much damage you're doing. How much
mm,
you can actually ruin for yourself with this drive that a lot of people accredit to being good. And I agree, drive can be great. Um, but you have to think about it in a healthy way. Your mind has to be in a healthy state in order to go into the direction where your life is supposed to go rather than what you think it should go into. Life can unfold a lot
mm.
differently than what we want. I can attest to that myself. Ashley can too. Like
Oh
had it
gosh.
gone our way, the way that we wanted, we wouldn't be in a healthy place. Or at least I can only speak for
Mhm.
myself. Had everything taken off the exact way that I wanted when I was a teen up until now, my late 20s, I would not be a good person. I would not be a healthy person. I wonder if I honestly would even still be in a state of being in my body, being in this
Yep.
reality, And so I guess what I'm trying to say is be open to life speaking to you and maybe moving you in a different direction than what you think, and having drive and having motivation and having passion to pursue the things that you want to do is fantastic, but don't let it get to the point
Mm.
where you abandon, destroy, and destruct everything in your path to get to where you think you need to be.
If yous haven't heard it, which a lot of you probably haven't, in our last season, I come up with something called Nina's Wisdom, and I kinda sung it as a song. Nina's Wisdom. Mhm. Dun-dun-dun. We need, like, the instrument after that. Dun-dun-dun.
Mhm.
Editor J, go for it. Dun-dun-dun-dun. It's been one of the greatest things, and it's gonna be on a T-shirt, so look out for the merch. That's kind of the conversation that I find is very relevant these days, what you were talking about. I mean, Nina's right too, like, who we would have been if we had never become aware of ourselves and our own behavior, which in a lot of ways is not a fault because we really didn't know. We didn't have that kind of guidance. We weren't aware about mental, physical, emotional. We weren't aware about human in a lot of ways. And that's a reality in society. Human is still very stigmatized. And what comes with that is still very stigmatized.
Mhm.
Owning our mistakes felt like one of the worst things that you could do. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know, we know. We've spoken about this before. Owning your mistakes, the first thing you think of doing is putting up like a million blocks in front of that person and just walking away or being like, "No, no, you're you're the problem. You're the
Yeah.
problem. I'm not the problem. You're the problem. You did it. You stop me. You never pick me. I don't do anything wrong." That is, I remember meeting people with that too. I'd find it really hard, and it's not a fault. It's really not because I couldn't cope with someone telling me things that I'd done wrong. I really
Mhm.
couldn't. I didn't know how to cope with that. How do you cope with someone telling you, "Hey, you did something wrong. You hurt me," and I didn't want to hurt people. I didn't want to hurt people. That wasn't my intention. But sometimes I did because sometimes I did because I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware enough, you know. And that hurts when you don't have the intention and then you find out that you did it even though you try your hardest not to do it.
Mhm.
That's very difficult to validate. That's why it's such a hard conversation to have sometimes for me personally, depicting humans' problems because it's kind of like responsibility and responsibility and accountability need to be had, but then there's also the other issue that no one really knows how to do that in many ways. And then there's wishing that someone had more self-awareness with their behavior, but then if they don't even know how to do that, how do they do that? It's just so conflicting sometimes. I don't know if you experience this too, my friend, and if any of you do as well, but it's very conflicting when you become so aware of how human beings project and why they project and where we can learn, where we need to learn, where we need to grow, where we need to heal. It's just like we're coming from so much trauma. Truly, we are coming from so much trauma that it's just, like I said, it's just a confliction. I get so
Yeah.
conflicted between getting angry at a behavior compared to being like, ah, this is not okay. I'm setting the boundary, but I also get why you did it. But I'm not validating it.
Yeah.
But a part of me knows why you did it. You know what I mean?
That's something that I personally am learning how to process as well. Simply because it's like I've watched so many people on TikTok be like, you can understand a person's behavior and still not accept it and still walk away if
Mm,
that person does one thing or another. But it makes it
yeah.
so hard sometimes, especially I don't want to walk around and keep saying this, but I am a recovering people pleaser and you have your ups and your downs on that journey. And the
Yeah.
thing is, when you have a lot of compassion for people and you have a lot of love for people and you want them to do better and you know that they can, but they don't have the tools, you often, or at least for me, I oftentimes want to be like, let me educate them. And then I have to like
Yeah.
now take a step back and realize that it's not my responsibility. I can make somebody aware, but they have to do the work,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you can only
Yes.
do so much as the outside person. But yeah, I definitely heavily relate of just
I know you
I
do.
I can't stand the person, and then you internalize it. You go through the little tiny stage of, is it me? Did I do something? And then you're like, no, it's not
Yes.
me. And then you have to battle your own like internal demons with that.
Mindset.
Yes. And
Our
then you come
mind
to the
is
point
interesting.
and then you come to the point where you're like, okay, we're both flawed human beings. That's kind of where I'm operating out of from. Like, we're both flawed human beings, or this person, or these multiple people and I are flawed human beings. Can I bring some compassion into it, but make that a boundary? Put a boundary on that compassion because I've heard somebody say this before, and I think this is very vital and something I definitely want to say right now because it's coming up for a reason. People can take advantage of your compassion. People can take advantage
Mm,
of your kind heart, your good intentions, especially when they know that you're really a good person. You pride yourself on being a good person, right? So have limitations and boundaries in place. Yeah.
yeah. You need them.
Yeah.
You need them. Kindness with boundaries is something I've always preached
Yes.
through my own advocacy journey. Kindness with boundaries. Because you see, and you'd see it as well, my friend. You would have. A lot of people talking about how I'm not going to be kind anymore. Too many people have fruited me over. I'm not going to do
Yes.
it anymore. I'm done. A hole is the new hole.
I'm in my villain era. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in my villain era. And when I see this stuff, it's like I get it. I get what you mean. Nina and I have definitely had our experiences with human beings in the worst possible way. Trusting and loving and caring for human, uh, that was pretty much hanging on by a thread in some sense, because when you have been dehumanized enough, why would you treat human beings like a human? You'd want to switch that off. You'd want to. Every part of you would want to, as a survival mode and as a protection mode. But take it in some sense that resonates to you from us, that choosing that pathway just continues the cycle, and you just become a human being that does it to someone else, that someone else does it to someone else, and continues on from there. It just never ends, my point. It continues on, and no one is kind. No one is respectful. No one is thinking of themselves and each other, because in a lot of ways you need to consider yourself and others, but no one is holding space. There's no safe spaces then. If no one was kind, there's no safe spaces to be a human, to be an individual, right? So kindness with boundaries is being kind, but knowing where the boundaries need to be set. And Nina and I, we've been friends for a long time, and we still have that with each other. We have our boundaries because you need to as individuals, and we can recognize where maybe we've gone over the line, or maybe we need to apologize for something. It's not a common denominator, but it's enough that we know. We're aware enough where things maybe have gone a little too far. Maybe we need to pull it back a bit. We're aware. And in general sense, out there, right, with other people, we've learned that we would rather be a safe space. We'd rather hold ourselves at a level of accepting human and humanity, as well as accepting ourselves, because that's where it started from, right? Than becoming someone that hates humanity, hates human beings, and that energy protrudes out there for everyone to experience and feel. Like one of those people that go out there and just projects. You know what I'm talking about, Nina? Like just projects and projects. Retail workers, hospitality workers, just everyone cops it. Because that's what happens when you, like, again, that's like another full topic there. Because that's what happens when you suppress. But my point is, kindness with boundaries is the thing to aim for. However that looks for you is your personal creation of it. But kindness with boundaries is what keeps you, for you as well, right? It's for you as well. Keeps you in a safe space for yourself, an accepting space, a loving space, a courteous, respectful space. And then you show that to other people. And then if someone decides, no, no, no. If someone decides to come into your space and disrespect that, you know the boundaries you need to set up in that moment, because we have. And I'll speak for myself in this moment, and then if Nina would like to, she can. That there have been so many moments where I've had to cut people off, and I've had to put up walls to protect myself. And if that needs to happen for the protection of my mental and physical space, then hell yes, I'm going to do it. If you give me a reason to, then I'm going to do it. You have no reason to project harm. And there's a point where I won't accept it for myself, as well as I don't want to absorb that and project that on anyone else as well. That's the other issue too, is you can absorb this stuff. There's so much to this conversation. There's so much. Yeah. There's like an unfolding of it. But yeah, what about you, my friend?
I definitely agree. I think if you fall into the trap of, or at least personally, this is my belief, if you fall into the trap of thinking that you turning out to be just like the person who did the thing to you that made you bad is going to make anything better in your own life or yourself, then you're off the good path, off the right path for you, because like Ashley already mentioned, it's only going to make everything darker and worse and more intense and more hateful and spiteful and resentful. And therefore, I can only speak for myself, but I know Ashley has been through this as well, where we oftentimes, when things have happened, we had to sit down and suck the venom out of the wound that has been caused to us in our lives. And in the end, it's not easy. It's not something that a lot of people can do, which is why we're in the situation that we're in. But I do believe it's a possibility. And if we strive to do that, at least moment by moment, then we can get there day by day and month by month. And then a lifetime can be created from a place of kindness, and maybe not only kindness, but genuine authenticity, where you are yourself and you are not participating in a world where eventually that kind of behavior would just turn into kind of where we came from, just
Mm.
Western lives, like in those cowboy movies where everybody walks around with a gun. Are you gonna draw first or am I? Like that's not the life that we want to live. I think for a majority of us, at least I hope not. Um, and we have to do the hard work and really heal ourselves. But when it comes to our friendship, when it comes to boundaries and stuff like that, when, for me personally, I say this all the time, but I have to speak from personal experiences and my own beliefs and feelings at this moment in time. And it's like something that I've learned as somebody who has avoided at all costs previously in my life fights or arguments or miscommunications and oh my god, terrible thing. No, it's not. It's actually a beautiful and wonderful thing because those types of moments can make you closer if it's with the right people. Like there is fighting in an unhealthy way and then fighting in a good way or communicating in a healthy way and in an unhealthy way. And if you are with somebody who
Mm.
you love, who they are there for you, just right now you're having a hard time or there's something going off, make that time to sit down to talk to them about it. I know I've mentioned this sometime in season 1, but if you care, you will take the time to mend and talk about it with the people that you truly say you care about. And with
Mm.
Ashley and I, when we've had miscommunications, it's happened last year, this year, it happens at times. It's not a deal breaker in our friendship. It's like, okay, there's something off. We both need to address it. We both need to sit down so we can both feel at peace and ready to move forward in our friendship or overcome this hurdle or whatever is going on in our personal lives. So, yes, communication, kindness with boundaries, and just learning that sometimes we don't have it all together and that's okay. And sometimes the other person doesn't have it all together and that's okay, but we need to address it um, with boundaries and kindness.
Yeah. Even though we're self-aware in many ways, we still are healing at the same time. Not still. We are healing.
Yeah.
And we have had to go off nothing, really. We didn't have any guidance. We didn't have anyone to guide our pathway, to offer assistance. We didn't grow up with that. And even in our teenage life and adult life, we didn't have that. So we still make mistakes and we will. Mistakes are valid, part of the human experience. The experience that Nina was talking about last year was actually something that occurred, and then I had messaged Nina. And this is what I'm talking about with self-awareness in a way, which is kind of goes off the topic of kindness with boundaries, but you know, goodbye.
So be it.
um, I observed myself going into like inner child, inner teenager communication, and I saw myself replying to her. I saw myself replying to her in that way. It didn't feel like me now. It felt like a younger version of me responding to something that I was putting up a guard over because I was afraid. And it comes down from past experiences. And these are the things that falls in line with that really needed self-awareness and that good communication. And it does actually fall in line with kindness with boundaries as well, because it is being able to boundary yourself. Boundaries is not just for everyone else. Boundaries is also for you too. To be able to be self-aware enough to say, okay, this is how I'm speaking right now. Maybe I need to tone it back, take a step back, and reevaluate before I respond to something, before I communicate to something, before I step forward to something. Boundaries is not that's actually a thing that I feel like needs to be talked about a lot more, is the boundaries is also for self in the way of for self. You know, you need to, you really need to, because without it, I don't think I could have recognized in that moment that how I was communicating to Nina, like it just wasn't in the way of actually depicting how I was feeling and just saying it that way. I understand why, because past experiences of communicating in friendships, which was never around, obviously, came into that reality. And it had nothing to do with Nina. It just had everything to do with protection mode and me feeling like it's unsafe to express my feelings, even though with her it is. But you can be very blinded by your past trauma, by your past
Absolutely.
experiences. That's also why boundaries with self is really important when you're healing. Because when you're healing, you can project, you can, and you may. You may. Because I have. Definitely.
So have I.
there's
I
no
think we
there's
all
no
have.
wrongdoings. There's no right way of doing this. There's no such thing as perfection. We both have, we go through it. The art of healing. And like I said
Yes.
before, we don't really know what we're doing. I said this in episode 1. We have no idea what we're doing. We're just like traveling along the road like Bilboe Baggins. He has no idea what he's doing, but he signed up for it. He signed up for the adventure, and he's just like, I'm going on an adventure. Goes on the adventure and realizes, holy cereal bowl Cocoa Poppies. This is insane, but I'm still going to continue to go on this adventure because it's amazing. And it leads him to amazing opportunities and experiences. That's actually a great example to use, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a really good example. That's one of the reasons why I love Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
The meaning of those movies.
Yes. I think
Yes.
it's a perfect example, actually, because that's what life is. It's an adventure. And when I was listening to you just now, Ash, I was like, not only are you so right, but also it's a sense of, at least for me in my life, when I was a kid, I was so excited to live and to explore the world. And, I had so many questions. I was like, why is this the way it is? And what is that about? And I was so ready to experience all these incredible people and things. And then life hit and people
Yes.
hit and experiences hit.
People
And
hit.
yes, and social standards and expectations and all these things hit, and then you're now not living from a place of what else is there, what can I do with my life, what can I experience, what can I explore, what can I learn more of, how can I be more of something to add to the world. You're coming from a perspective now, after being indoctrinated. I don't know if you guys went to like public schools or any schooling of any kind. If you have, if you haven't, it's all good. But like, you get taught from early on, this is the life, this is what you need to be doing with it, and everything else is childish or immature, or you need to grow out of that. And so me personally, as a born creative, as a born person who loves to express and loves to love people and give that, it's just like I was put into this mindset of, okay, I need to get a job, I need to do this by that age and do this and by that time, and you have your whole life dictated almost. And in the means of that, not only do you turn out to be miserable because you're like, what is life? Right? And that's a recent question that has come up in the, I feel like, human psyche more recently than in the past. What is life and what is my purpose on this earth? But you are now operating from a space of life is a checklist. And in the meantime, you're miserable and you really stop exploring what life has to offer, and it has to offer so much more than what we've been presented or what we've been made to believe that it can give us. And I think Bilbo Baggins is the perfect way to express that, because there's so much magic and wonder and beauty and friendship and people who really get you, communities who really can get you. But if we don't go out of this mind frame of we need to live this type of life, we can never really experience that. So we need to go along the journey. We need to be open to its experiences and what it has to teach us, and really be mindful that while there are really terrible things happening in this world, we can be better and we can do better, and to not lose that hope. And then also kindness with boundaries. It's a balancing act.
Oh, yes, it is. Life is a balancing act.
Yeah.
Even as you were speaking about the experiences of society's pressures, I thought to myself, it's another good reason to actually boundary society and boundary yourself.
Yes.
Because society likes to dictate individual lives, and it's like, well, if we were all meant to work in hospitality, then we would,
Yeah.
If we were all meant to be a doctor, then we would have been, right?
Yeah.
If we were all meant to find love at 18, then we would have.
Yeah.
So what is society trying to dictate? That we all have to live the same life and have to be the same way? You know? Society needs to be boundaried so
Mm,
much.
yeah.
Like you really just you don't get to put any kind of pressure on anybody because the expectation of that, you're painting an illusion. You're painting an illusion and an expectation that someone who doesn't want to live that life can't meet. So
Mhm.
technically, and another topic, but it has to be said, it's causing depression. It's causing anxiety. And it doesn't need to be, just to put that out there. It really doesn't need to be. That's why you see a lot of the conversations, and I know a lot of you would see it as well. You see the conversations online about, oh, I'm 28 years old, I'm 30, I'm 35, I'm 40, and I haven't done this, and I haven't done that, and I haven't done this, because they're pulling apart the, I was going to swear just then, the cacaria. Am I allowed to say that?
No, I like that.
um,
Keep that in.
they're pulling apart that cacaria musaka. Just pulling apart the crap to show you exactly what is underneath all of that, like the trueness of it, that it could unfold in any way, shape, form. Who knows? Who knows?
Yes.
And that's just proof enough without going too far into that topic, because I could. Why society needs to be boundaried, why we all need to boundary it, because it's just so unrealistic. Our lives didn't turn out the way that, people like to perpetuate. Nina and I should have kids by now. We should be married. We should have the full on blown career and the house and just everything, the car, everything. Nina, we should be able to buy our own bed sheets that cost $300. you know we should be able to have an antique vase hanging up somewhere. I mean, I've got a thrifted one and it's beautiful, and I think it was like $5, and
Mhm.
that's amazing, right? But
Yeah.
all of that, our lives didn't turn out like that. And Nina and I had to go through the process of actually healing from not having those things and from not being in a place where society tells us that we should be. We had to go through and we still kind of are. We still have our days where our mind, I'll say, no, distinction. I'll say thoughts that have been implemented by society like to play their games and like to remind us that we're reaching a certain age and we're not in a certain place. And oh my gosh, you're a total failure in life. Like, look where you are, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Reminds me of like just Gollum speaking.
Yeah.
Honestly. It plays, as you all know, it likes to play games, and it likes to really make you feel like it's right when it's not.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's really not. Nina and I are where we are because we had to be. We are where we are because our life turned out a certain way where this is just where we are.
I think a big thing also that adds to what you just said, Ash, is something that I've come to learn most recently when it comes to society and expectations and life and all this stuff, right? We are constantly in a state of consumption. Like, not only in the things we buy, but the things we want. Not only out of life, but we don't want this, we want it now. And I don't want to work that hard, or I don't want to do this. And this is not a ridicule in how hard we work, because that is a whole stigma in and of itself, but to
Mm.
attain the things that we wish to have. But I have learned recently in my life, when it comes to my friendships, my relationships, all this stuff, right, is that if you're constantly in a state of consumption in your life and in the society in which you live, that also then corrupts your relationship, because then you go into it thinking, what can I get from this person? What can this person provide me that I need right now? And when that doesn't happen, people often get triggered, fights can occur, and I'm bringing this all up to say, because that can be a whole episode in and of itself, but I'm bringing this all up to say that we don't go into relationships wanting, clearly we want to receive, right? But we don't go into relationships thinking, what can I get from that person? We go into relationships wanting to share our time, our soul, our space, our love with each other. And the same goes with life. We're not here to live life on a checklist, to buy things, to acquire things, to be in a certain level, be seen by other people in a certain way, in a certain position. We're here to live, to breathe, to evolve. Just like a little cocoon, a little, what is it? A caterpillar in a little cocoon turning into a butterfly. That is
Yeah.
our journey for our souls. And just let life guide you. Just like Bilbo Baggins, right? Yeah. I never want to get his
Bilbo
name wrong.
Baggins. The actor that was Bilbo Baggins, just want you to know that you picked whoever picked you to be Bilbo Baggins, yeah, be proud of it.
Yeah.
He is an amazing character, truly.
Yes.
Even Frodo as well, like 100% inspirational crap right there. He had no idea what he was in for, and he did
Oh,
it.
yeah.
And it would have been, even if it was reality sense, it would have been beyond the word terrifying. Beyond. I think any of us, like I would have probably pissed my pants more than 100 times.
Yeah.
Truly. Especially getting to Mordor and the eye. Nope, I would have been done again.
Oh, yeah.
Soaked, change my underwear. Who would I even change it? Because I need to lay on the floor. You can't be seen. So soaked underwear the whole time.
Yeah.
Truly, you know. But it's just proof of the differences though. We're not going to go to Mordor and have to chuck a ring in, fire. But taking the adventure is very much worth it, I think, in a lot of ways. Even with the moments that can come with it sometimes. I'll say it like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But our topic of boundaries that we've been speaking about definitely came very random. We flew.
Yes.
I don't know what to say now, Nina.
We were actually planning on having a conversation about friendships and how we love and can grow from them, but it turned into this, and I'm so loving it. So we
Yes.
definitely need to stick with this conversation. But yeah.
This is kind of why we just flow with things. We can have plans for some things, but there's a lot to say and there's a lot of conversations to be had.
Life
So
turns out differently than we expected.
life turns out differently. Yes, it's an adventure and it goes any way possible. And if you're joining us in the journey, which we would love you to, you're definitely gonna see it a lot. It's gonna happen. Like it's just gonna happen. So you just know now. At this point. And the other thing too, to back this up, is that the human experience has so many unfoldings to it. Like, how can you stick on one topic? It's so difficult to.
Right.
It really is.
Yeah.
Jeez. And that's why I can't wait to have our first guest, because their stories, like, it's going to be such an unfolding. 8 hours later. I'm not going to say it in my AI voice. 8 hours later.
Or we can even do it like SpongeBob. 8
Oh, yeah, do it.
hours later. I can't do the voice. I can't do it at all. So bad. I'm so sorry.
You did. Always good to try, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot wait for that experience. And
Yes.
we're hoping you all enjoy our sorry, the headphones are starting to hurt my freaking ears. Can you all relate to that? After a while, these headphones just they're just really open. It feels like it's expanding my eardrum hole. Like maybe they're just made too big for the ear. For the ear.
My friends, my family, my familia, to all of you wonderful human beings listening in.
La familia.
I hope you guys have a great life, truly. It sounds a little bit weird, but I feel like life can be so hectic, so stressful, so time
Mm.
consuming in a lot of different ways where your attention is pulled in every which way direction. But just know that at the end of it, it's your journey to take. You're the, person to decide which way you want to go, which road you want to take. And we're here to share all of our experiences, Ashley, mine, many other people, and we're excited to have you along the journey. So thank you for listening in. This week's episode in season 2. Yay! I'm still so excited that we're in season 2
Yeah.
now. And we'll see you next week.
How do you say thank you in German?
Dankeschön.
Dankeschön.
Yes, look at you.
Oh,
So
I got
good.
it.
Yeah,
Oh. Well,
first
I've been
try.
trying out Hawaiian, so mahalo.
Mahalo.
Mahalo. Thank you so
Bye,
much, you guys, for
guys.
joining. Bye, friends.
Bye.
Friends.